And he has to have not only enough of me, but enough opportunity to not be in survival mode. So again, it's this circle of trying to be great at everything at one time. And, your work's never done, but you do need to sit down. You do need to rest, because your kids can't really function, or your kid's not going to benefit off of a dead version of you, or a low energy dad, or, I'm too tired for this. I'm too exhausted, son. I'm sorry. I can't. And then when he leaves out the house, like you said, to your point, you ain't talked to your son in 4 weeks, 3 months, 6 months, because he don't mess with you like that, because you never made time for him.
What's going on, family? Welcome to another episode of the Fatherhood Village Podcast, the official home for proud fathers and mentors. I go by the name of Dale Holloway. As always, linked up with my boy Kev Hick. What's going on with you, King? How you doing?
I'm good, man. Peace and love, baby.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. How you been, man? How's the fam?
Oh man, we good. We just moving around, getting a taste of this good weather. While it lasts, while it's not too hot, while we ain't baking.
Yeah.
But our guest would know a little bit more about bacon since he in the South. So
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, everybody might be in the dark right now, but I'm glad you brought that up. We do have our first guest of the show. Family, I want you to give a warm welcome to him. He's dropping through all the way from Atlanta, Georgia. Shout out to the A. He's a very well-traveled comedian. He's toured many cities, different countries. He's done huge shows in China at the Kung Fu Comedy Club. He was also a semi-finalist for the African American Film Festival's Comedy Wings competition. That's a mouthful right there. Which was sponsored by HBO. So that's big moves. I checked the man's stand-up content out on YouTube. Yo, he legit funny, man. He checked out. This man had me rolling. Yeah, I appreciate that. He's also a part of a dynamic trio of comics that host the 4th and 10 podcast, which you can find on Spotify, iHeartRadio, and iTunes. A highly praised leader of his Atlanta community as a motivational speaker. So as a comedian, actor, speaker, and most of all, a proud father, Damon Sumner. Welcome to the show, brother. How you doing?
Hey, man, that intro was too good. That is too good. Crisscross applesauce on my bed right now. That is. No, man, I'm excited to be here, fellas. I'm excited to get a chance to chop it up about something that I think we all care deeply about. It being a great father. So I'm glad to be here.
Yes, sir, man. Welcome, man. Like I said, it's the first time we adding to the pot that we stirring in right now. But like I said, I'm excited. It's gonna be a great show. So this episode is all about entrepreneurship as a father.
Mm-hmm.
All three of us have a lot of things going on outside the 9 to 5, some things, our dreams, some endeavors, some aspirations. We trying to get it all, and especially for our family. So a couple talking points I wanted to bring forth. One was, how do we optimize work production with everything going on around us, having families, just the inner workings of things, and how do we get stuff done? How do we stay on track? Another would be, what negative implications rest in the balance of being a successful father and successful entrepreneur? How do we kind of, gain control of both, and still come out successful? So with Damon being our guest, I'm gonna start with you, man. What are some ways that you optimize work production? How do you get the most out of your day and what you have, in your lane and what you're trying to accomplish?
Right. Well, shoot, pre-pandemic and post-pandemic are two different pieces. But if I stay present tense, I think one of the biggest things, man, is just being able to kind of create and sustain boundaries. I've got my son is 10, and I got two girls who are 5 and 4. And so over the time, man, we've just been able to really, my wife and I, create boundaries and routines, right? And so, every household is going to run differently. So whatever that structure is going to look for you, you got to just kind of be consistent with it. So for us, for example, we wake up, my kids know they how to start the day. They'll get the day going, grab the breakfast bar, get to their reading routine, boom, boom, boom. So off top, I've already got about an hour and a half, hour and a half to kind of just be productive in the morning time, just, on good days, uninterrupted, right? Then we get together, boom, boom, and then we kind of move on through the day, and there's different segments. Depending on what we're doing for the day, those routines come in handy just because, for a lot of families, when virtual school was popping off, specifically in Georgia, I'm not sure how Alaska or Ohio was going, but like when they shut schools down in March, it was like, oh shoot, what we doing? And
Yeah.
we had thankfully had already kind of instilled, some key routines where the kids were kind of, they had to adjust, they had to pivot. We all had to pivot. But we
Hmm.
were kind of able to move kind of a little smoothly in that. So because work still had to get done, meetings still had to be had, what I'm saying, calls still had to be made. And so that was one of the biggest things for sure. And then a huge piece of the puzzle for myself is just the teamwork with my wife. I mean, the collaboration collectively is, you're not seeing all that stuff you just read off earlier. None of that's happening without being a great teammate
Hmm.
beside her, and she, supported me and vice versa. And so, we just communicate, man. We over communicate, we plan, you know what I'm saying? And we just kind of make it happen. When somebody's like, hey, I need Tuesday, I'm gonna be gone from about 9 to 1. I need you to hold it down. Like, boy, I got you. Because when I
Yes,
roll out
sir.
on Friday, I'm out. So that's just the thing that we've been able to kind of really utilize to kind of maximize time.
Great, great. That's real. I understand that completely. What about you, Kev? How you getting things done over there, man? With so much going on with the COVID, add to it. How you get things popped off and stay above everything.
I think the brother just made the whole point. I got my wife, my
Right.
my wife. We have a good system, and you already know, and you're aware of the business I run. Off of YouTube and the websites and the entrepreneurial endeavors that come away from that audience and things of that nature. So whether I'm taking calls or whether I'm at the moment I was late 10 minutes here in our pre podcast meetup just because I'm setting up a virtual event and we got to get the digital marketing down and with the brother Martinez that hit with us, I'm setting up a digital event to use some of the things that he put into our ears when we talk to him as a mentor. And so we got so many things moving, man. None of it moves without my wife. First of all, taking control of my 3 and my 5-year-old. Handling
Hmm.
a lot of that homeschooling that happened to us when they did shut everything down. Really starting a routine that her routine was wake up when she kind of felt like it because she had that time. Her routine was acclimate to the morning, go get her coffee, chill. She had to make so many sacrifices when that COVID hit because it's like, oh, okay, so I wake up at 9, I'm a teacher. Cool, cool. You know what I'm saying? Like it wasn't the
It
most
didn't hit right away. Yeah.
right. But she made those adjustments and my son's better behaved for it. He does so much better outside of school. But again, all of those things, whether I'm taking calls, whether I'm making YouTube videos, editing content, building this dating program that I have, doing this podcast with you, or doing extra stuff that I put in play. It all happens because again, we've all picked, I believe, great teammates who understand, what it means to sacrifice for the betterment of the team, and understand that every role being played is important. I think that a lot of these families didn't have that 2-man structure going in, and so I really feel for the single ladies and or the single fathers out here because making those types of adjustments through a pandemic, it could be I could just imagine how terrible that would be. But everything, all the time management goes through my wife. My wife runs the calendar. I don't even know how to look at a Google calendar. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Yeah.
I'm a smart guy. I could
Yeah,
I could figure it out, but I
sure,
don't
sure.
have to because she's on top of time. She's on top of efficiency. She
Mhm.
handles the bills and stuff, so I can worry about creating and building for our family, and she takes care of everything else. Outside of that, man, we just try to make sure that as a father. always let my son see my face. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes I'm a little bit too busy to have the playtime on the floor like I used to have with them. But we're in the building phase, like I said, and so I just make sure that they see my face. If my son, says "Daddy, Daddy, Daddy," I might be in the zone. I might not hear him. My wife be like, "Hey, he's calling you." And I'm like, oh God, that's one of those moments where damn, I should be more present. But then I show
Yeah.
him my face and what you need, and I show him my eyes and I give him that time and I try to give him that attention when he's calling for it. And a lot of times, hell, I could be zoned out working, but my sons still are cuddly, they're 3 and 5. So they might be on top of me in some way. They're like literally crawling on me like ants, but they understand that I got some things to do, but they still want that time, even if it's just a touch. So we get it in all the ways we have to get a little bit creative about our affection and our time and that FaceTime that we have in person. But we always make sure we make those sacrifices and do it, even if I got to put my phone down and not return an email or move some business stuff around. I try to get them there.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Definitely. That's huge. Like you said, you both brought up the whys being like such a central part of what we do. I don't see how I can really do a lot and get a lot of things done without my wife at all. Like she's such a huge presence when it comes to making sure things are right. Like you said, I'm glad she has the OCD when it comes to organizing, structure. Like she literally had like 7 calendars throughout the house. It's crazy. Like they're not calendared, they're like the little boards with the categories and the blocks and all. Like that's how she has to write it down. She has to see it, go by it, look at it. You know what I mean? So, and then we got the Google Calendar. You guys are familiar with that. And that's like the only thing I have. And I'm still learning because some things I still keep in my head and I don't really put it down, or I say something to her, she forget, and vice versa. So she's helped me out a whole lot. My communication skills, like I told Kev before, absolutely trash. And she told me and she improved me. She leveled me up. That was a huge upgrade. Like I said, can't do it without her. And, so that communication has to be lively. It has to be the lifeblood of what's going on. And because she handles so much, I got to make sure I'm giving back. I got to make sure things are reciprocated.
Right.
I have to make sure I'm doing my part because it can't be one-sided. So like you said, Kev, I got to cut stuff short or not complete it or don't even get into something else. Got to learn to say no to other plans and projects going on because I owe that to the family. I owe that to the kids. You know what I mean? So that's the war that in the pull and tug is like, okay, when do I say no and yes, and how much is good enough, and did I go too far? You know what I mean? So that's the balance that we have to try to make sure we mitigate, and time management, and that goes right in place with that. And it's weird, like some things just hit me out of nowhere. Like I'm a bit of a perfectionist, right? Like, Kev, I'm an artist. So like, that visual got to be correct. And so I could be working in the office, writing stuff down, doing some sketches for this little, freelance logo projects I do. And I just look around the office and it'll look, trash. Things are everywhere is out of place. It just look chaotic to me. And I just got to stop what I'm doing. And I got to make sure my zone is right. So everything got to, you feel me? So now I didn't plan to do that. So now I'm taking away from what I set out to do to go, you know what I mean? So I get wrapped up in that, or like I say, you spend too much time doing something because you get into a creative zone, your wheels start turning, you so devoted into something. And if you're not following that schedule, it can have a second and third level effect. So that's huge. That's huge.
The thing that you mentioned, trying to get that time back when you owe it, just like last night. Was it last night we podcast last night?
Yeah.
All right. Last night we did the podcast. I had to stay up an extra hour and watch some Black Lightning with my wife because that was her time.
Say that.
I was watching that Black Lightning. Ain't that the dumbest, greatest show in the world?
Right.
It's the stupidest damn show, but it's also well written. So
that's funny.
But I had to stay up an extra hour because I try to give, like I said, it's her time, right? And she got to get it. And whether I lose an hour of sleep, Everybody got to get theirs, because I got a lot of duties, I got a lot of hats, and I'm not just business guy. I'm not just provider. You know what I'm saying? I'm supporter.
Mhm.
I'm friend.
Mm-hmm.
I'm coach. I'm guide. I'm all a lot of things as a father and husband. So I had to give her her time back, and I'm Netflix buddy. So
Yeah.
but
Netflix buddy is a huge thing in this new era. That's important to
Yeah.
know because if you watch my show without me, we fighting. You
oh
understand?
Yeah.
god,
That's hands
Fighting,
on
bro.
deck.
Listen, you know what's up. I'ma see the episode. We was on episode 8. Why
Right.
is
yeah,
Why are
episode
we
10?
up 3 episodes?
How you doing? Oh, well, I thought you was gonna have another meeting. No, you ain't. You saw the you make the calendar. I understand. But I think y'all was talking
Right.
about a great point, man. Like the time when I think about, we're talking about being an entrepreneur and different hats. Like really, time is a huge piece. I know the other one you were talking about was just kind of the other effects. And this, what I'm about to say, is kind of at least for ourselves, is kind of a two-sided coin. My wife and I, we kind of a few years ago, I forgot where we were, but we kind of had just this understanding for ourselves as a family of just kind of reshaping what balance means.
Mm.
And so, like, I was traveling a lot more because we were both in education, and then I was able to go full time with comedy a couple of years ago, and so traveling just kind of bloomed and picked up, and was grateful for all of that. But it was a whole new world, and you know what I mean. And so figuring out what balance meant was a huge piece. And I think for every family who is self motivated and trying to kind of make things happen, that is an important thing that we've kind of figured out was like, man, what does balance mean? Because we thought that word around a lot, and we've kind of talked about time here, where clearly by this conversation already, it's like, man, it seems like there's not enough time in a day, and we've got different hats and so many different roles here. So for us, not feeling like failures or feeling like we weren't being successful, or we weren't feeling like we were giving enough, we kind of just had to push back and whoa, what do we really feel like the definition of balance is for us? Similar
Right.
to what do we feel like success is for us. Like for myself personally, I am a success because I'm doing what I love full time. That was that. If I don't get Conan, if I don't get Comedy Central, those are extra little toppings, but I am successful and we kind of reshaping it. And so balance, when we kind of realize, all right, I'm going to be gone, a lot more days. And what it came down to for us was when I'm wherever I am, I'm present, right? And so when we kind of reshaped it as that, it made a lot more sense for our family in the sense of when mom or dad when he's away, right? He's present there. He's going hard there, so he can maximize that opportunity, maximize that income, maximize those relationships. When that door locks and I put that suitcase back in that closet, baby, turn that hat off, boom, right? We fully
Yeah.
present here, and that just just lightened the load, at least for us, with our shoulders, because balance isn't an important word, but every family runs differently, right? You could
right.
work overnight, right? And you see your daytime would look different because your kids at school and you get home, and or whatever the case may be. Maybe you don't
Mm.
travel. Maybe I travel a lot. And so that was just an important piece of maximizing time, but also kind of reshaping for our house what balance meant.
Yeah. Yeah. That's highly important. Nah, you said it. You said it. I think I have to, like you said, it has to be a two-way type of thing with the wife, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
your idea, like you said, of balance is totally different than hers. So
Mm-hmm.
you gotta like find the middle ground
Right.
and make sure both sides are accommodated, man. So
you it brings a point. I think first of all, I just got a lot of respect for everything you laid out, man, because like that's what we're trying to build. We're trying to build a tribe of men who understand that responsibility and that honor that you have to serve your family in this way is that important, that it takes that intricacy and that not only that patience but that intent to be great, right?
mhm.
But to those points you just made, I speak to a lot of women. If you don't know, I'm a relationship and dating coach, predominantly for women, but I mentor young men, and I do some men coaching as well. The ones that come to me, realizing that and I don't think I'm the first to realize this. It's pretty obvious, but when people like us are too tunnel vision into the dream or the success, if you will, of
Mm-hmm.
how it's been first of all sold to us and how we've accepted it unto ourselves. If we haven't defined success for ourselves or happiness for ourselves, joy, peace, love, contentment, we don't have our own definition and placement of those things for our own lives, for ourselves. what happens is in our journey to attain those things, we grow apart from our partners because we grow at different speeds and different directions. In the absence of the partnership that we've all described here, with our wives being a part of that growth, too many men, and I love how you just described it, because too many men who do live on the road, the ones I talk to and the wives that I speak to about the guys who live on the road, because they're not a part of that. Those men go off and live different lives, have different experiences. They grow in a different direction. They grow at different rates. And in a lot of cases, that wife is on a journey of her own, but it's different. And so they don't have anything in common when that brother gets off the road after so many years, right? And so, but it doesn't just extend itself to relationships where people are one person's traveling or growing and another person's sitting down, or it's often minimized the value of a woman being at home with the kids while the man is going out and conquering the world. He might take all the credit for conquering the world, but it's the woman allowing that to happen and facilitating that with her greatness. And that's even if you're in a traditional relationship. The thing is this though, it's so important for our listeners or anybody who might have forgotten to just be reminded that you and your spouse have to be growing together, not apart, and you have to make sure that you include each other in the things that are growing you the most. Otherwise, you'll look up and you'll be two different people who have two different backgrounds and two different life experiences. You can have one cultured person and one person who's been at home for 20 years. That never works out. And I've witnessed that from all of the women that I speak to who are going through divorce or post-divorce. Like, what happened to you? Well, he was really busy, or I was really busy and he was at home, or vice versa. In my per diem, or whatever it's called, I might have misused that, but I plan on hitting the road.
We'll run with it.
All right, look. I plan on hitting the road pretty soon and doing my own events. And my wife's travel is in that, in that event planning, in that pricing. It's like, hey, well, she's gonna be at the hotel too, so you know what I'm saying? Because I don't want to go out and see the world and witness the world and what it has to offer, and come home and have to tell her about it and get tired of telling those stories, and then pretty soon I'm just in my own place. You know what I'm saying? So my wife would be with me, you know what I'm saying? And that's a plan. And in whatever ways you can apply that information to yourself, I think that it's just good to be reminded.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We're going to dive into the next bullet. So Damon, what negative implications rest in the balance of being a successful father? What are some of the dilemmas that you face? What are we giving up? What are we sacrificing?
Right. I think we kind of already. Yeah, not to cut you off. Sorry.
No.
I think we kind of already alluded to just kind of the balance of time and trying to figure that out. But I think another element is similar to what Kev was talking about. Is one, when you can be so focused on the success and the dream that the family can just hit the back burner. And I think specifically for men, I think if we're being honest, specifically for Black men, there is a desire to be great. You know what I'm saying? To be excellent in our craft, in our plans, and our passion. That's a beautiful thing. However, there is this area where we have to be self-aware as men, and we're talking about specifically fathers, to not forget that if the passion and the dream and the craft fade away, if for whatever reason I can't tell these jokes, I'm still a dad. I still got somebody saying, "Hey, Dad, can I get some juice?" Yo, Dad, what's up with these fruit snacks? You know what I'm saying? it just that is not going away. The craft can fade. If I never told another joke after tonight, I'm still and forever going to be a dad. And so I think one of just the things is the tension of just this dream chasing, and I love dream chasing. I could talk about dream chasing all day. Is to kind of get so bogged up in the focus, especially, I ain't gonna lie to you, I'm gonna speak for myself. You come after a great weekend, just crowd loving it, autographs, pictures, followers, like you just like, woo, cloud nine, you know what I'm saying? And you just like that rush, and it's all there, and it's all great. And then you get inside the house, and you got to, pick up 2 kids, and the dishes are dirty, and you got to cut the grass. You're like, I got to get back out on this road, man. I got to get back. People love me out here. And and it's just I think for dads, and men in general, just the fight of not letting the main thing no longer be the main thing, and just
Mm,
constantly checking yourself and constantly having self-awareness of that, because nobody wants it to happen, but jobs and careers, listen, you think something's happening, we'll look up in 5 years, and who knows? Like, we literally don't know, but you'll still always be a dad. You'll still always be a father. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
High school, walking people down the aisle, the graduation, so whatever the case may be. Like,
Yeah.
and so that's just one thing I think that's important for all fathers.
yeah, big. That's big, and I struggle with that too. Just as like you said, when we wear all these hats, we're trying to find our niche, our passion, our purpose, and things get added on the plate, and we feel like we can handle it all.
Hmm.
But like
Hmm.
you said, with that, the plate itself is family. You know what I mean? You kind
Hmm.
of add this on to your family as well, even though you
Right.
pretty much
Right.
actively or directly involved, your family is a part of that. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So, but yeah, Kev, what things do you feel like you kind of give up, whether it be on the father side of things or on the entrepreneur side? Is it like you got to take a back seat with this project because go ahead?
You know, man, I'm so hungry. I'm
Yeah.
so hungry, dude. I've realized it in my life that I have anxiety, and I don't think that my anxiety differs from any great man. And I feel like a caged lion most days, right? That's how hungry I am. That's how bad I
Hmm.
want it. The
Right.
problem is, if something that's must be sacrificed, most of the time, I'll sacrifice myself.
Mm.
Like I told my mom the other day, and my mom's a little gangster, so she it's not like, oh my god, you said to you said, Mom, I don't have time to wipe my ass good. Like I don't.
Mm.
That's how busy I am. If I miss
Hmm.
a spot, damn it, I might have to just walk out the door
Yeah, walk out.
anyway.
Yeah.
uh, that's how busy I be, But
Hmm.
I, I don't want my family. If we're using that metaphor, which is a perfect metaphor, by the way, your family is that plate, But if we're using that metaphor, man, I'd much rather be the one that cracks than my family. And I know my clients need me to be whole. My family needs me to be whole. I need to be whole, and I need to be balanced because I'm a spiritual worker.
Hmm.
Some of the things that I'm doing, I'm moving from my spiritual place,
Hmm.
and I'm operating in an energetic and a vibrational area and an arena. So for me, I really need to be balanced, and so sometimes it's a struggle maintaining that balance. But if anybody's going to be inconvenienced, I try to make it me. If anybody
Yeah.
losing sleep, damn it, I'm going to lose the sleep. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Everybody gonna get
Hmm.
that FaceTime, and I'm gonna
Hmm.
be sleepy in the morning because I still have a day job. So really,
Hmm.
my day job is what suffers, which is fine enough because they don't have very high standards for for the employees. But I think that if I'm sacrificing me first, then I can properly enough gauge when we in a red zone. You know what I'm saying? Because
Hmm.
watching somebody else engage, trying to measure whether or not they've had enough is impossible, and too many men misread that. But I know when I've had enough, then everybody had enough, and so I always try to make sure that the parameter for making sure I'm not overworked, or my family or my wife specifically isn't overworked, is how tired I am. If I'm tired, then I know she damn sure tired because when I'm doing work, she's watching the kids.
Right. Right.
And if I'm tired, that means she's had to schedule all of these people. She's had to manage all of these appointments, and she's had to facilitate the things that I'm doing outside of this. So for me, I try to be the one that bears the brunt of it, the more tangible brunt of it. But I don't know if a man's work is ever done when he's hungry. And so this balance is always going to be a tightrope for us, but it's a
Always.
necessary evil. And it's
Hmm.
something I can't put down because, man, where I come from, man, I'm from the projects. I'm from every bad neighborhood in Dayton, Ohio. Pick one. Dayton View,
Yeah.
Mount Crest, Hilltop. I'm from two different projects.
Yeah.
Like,
Five
you
Oak.
can't.
Yeah.
Yeah, babe, it's Five Oaks hard. So, I don't have the luxury of assuming that it's going to be great for my family. I know what my reality has been and what it could always be. We was in those homeless shelter lines, and my mom was just pretty enough that people let her go through first with me. You understand that? Like,
Hmm.
because I've been at every level, or at least most levels below, affluency. I can tell you that it gets worse, and we're never as far away from that place of despair as we think we are.
Right.
So, unfortunately, knowing that and having that realization, it doesn't allow me to give myself much of a break. And so, I think all of our challenge then becomes balancing our energies and the time, not necessarily for our family, because we'll sacrifice anything. I'll drop dead before I abandon my boys, before I tell my boys I'm too busy for them, before I tell
Yeah.
them I don't feel like it, before I tell them I can't come, right? I can't support them. I'll drop fucking dead. But what I will do is I miss sleep for 2 months. You know what I'm saying? So
Hmm.
it's I'll sacrifice me, and I don't want to do that either, right? That tells me we're doing too much in that realm either. So, success for me is my kids happy, healthy, and whole, my wife happy, healthy, and whole, and me with a little bit of sleep, and just having enough sleep to make sure, because success for me is my family being right, my family being straight, my family not living in the projects like I was, struggling on survival mode, not being 7 years old, knowing what the DP&L bill is and why I can't have a toy or ask for one at the store. You feel what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So I don't know, man. We deal with a lot, and black men have a unique experience, in this country. So that we have way too much to try to balance on top of this plate. It's always a tightrope act. I don't know if I just talked myself out of my point, but I feel like somebody
You
needed to hear that
good.
shit.
You good. Nah, we got it. Yes, sir. Yeah, yeah. I think, like I said, I gained a lot from what the both of you have mentioned. Is to kind of sum it up, even if, like you said, Damon, if the things don't work out, if everything falls tomorrow, obviously you're still that superhero to your kids. You know what I
Right.
mean? They don't
Right.
ain't nothing changed in their eyes.
Nothing.
So I feel like, as many cracks as we get at it, the attempts that we make, the how we strive for our success, and whatever the result is, I think we have to live with that. We have to come to terms with it. And for our families, for our children to see that we had it in us to go as far as we did. And whether we
Mhm.
came up short based on, X person's expectations, so what? Now your kids see, okay, they expect this from a man, from a father. If you have a son, that's the kind of role that he needs to accept growing up. Okay, I gotta go hard, but I always, stay at home with the fam, as far as, they come first and everything else is second. So if it didn't work out, if it didn't happen, that's fine. That's okay. We're not really here to basically make everyone else happy and meet everyone else's expectations. Long as the family's happy, they're taken care of, they're protected, they're provided for, and we can live with that. You know what I mean? However that's going to shape, whatever that's going to end like, I think our kids will be the proudest regardless of what happens. You know
Right.
what I mean? So we kind of gotta know when to dial back, know when, hey, I did my part. I did enough. I tried. If I succeeded, yes. If not, my kids know the type of energy and effort it takes
Right.
to get this far, and
Yeah.
what it may take to get beyond that. So
And I think, another thing, just kind of as you were sharing, because I definitely think there's so much validity in it, is another piece of that question is that time will tell some more of the negative aspects of this, because, I say my son, it's just an example, but as a if you have more than one kid, even sometimes you have to fight that internal self and external pressure of comparing children for whatever it is. Maybe, oh, she potty trained faster, or he, was a better sleeper or whatever. And so
mhm.
my oldest, he was able to uh, you know, read at 2 and skipped first grade and yada yada yada. And whenever I catch my wife kind of get into this comparison mode, I'm like, hey, none of that matters if he's a jerk in high school. Like nothing, none of
Mm.
that. Nobody cares if you suck as a person at 17 that you were reading books at 3. That don't mean
Yeah.
nothing to me. And so, the fact that, man, you out here hustling and boom, 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 but then your kids look up, y'all ain't got no relationship in high school. Or, you look
Yeah.
up and, after they leave the house, like your relationship is just trash. Like, and so there are, I'm trying to be constantly aware of just how much effort and time we are putting into it. Is it always the best we want to give every day? No. All right, we get it. We're
Mhm.
human, and whatever. But when we're giving our best effort, more days than not, that success is there, because the implications on the negative side could be vast in the long term. And that's just something, I think every man, every dad that wants to be great, we're not here for any of that. So
Boy.
That's real. I think that's my number one. That's my number one fear and goal and focus is that I'm just building great people. You
Mm-hmm.
know,
Mm-hmm.
especially with my sons, man. My son, you know, he was reading that too, but
Mm-hmm.
then he goes to kindergarten, and they're like, "Oh, he's atypical." So now he's seeing himself being compared unfavorably to other kids in other
Mm-hmm.
areas. Best
Mm-hmm.
reader in the class, but has his own challenges and shit like that. And so, you know, for me, I've known people who had 4.5s who were just the worst person in the world. Who
Yeah.
you just wish you could punch in the face. Who
Yeah.
you got to really ski mask up and just punch that person in the face a few times a week, like that. Like so it doesn't matter if what you accomplish or what you have if your impact is negative, right? You know, a man's greatness can very accurately be measured by his impact on the world around him.
Yes,
And
sir.
I think that if your impact is negative, if you do harm, and if people haven't grown because of your presence in their life, and not because it, not in spite of your presence, but because of your presence, right? There's a difference. You know, I got some drug addict, you know, folks that I know and had to grow up under. Oh, you grew. Look at what I made you. I think that's in spite of what you. That ain't
Right.
because of you. That's in spite of you.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, I feel like that's one of the biggest things that I hold value to is making sure that my son is a great man and trying to build him into a great man first. And all of the sacrifices I make in business and things of that nature, the real motivation is that I clear enough room that I can just focus on that part of who he is and let
Right.
him get time to figure out what he wants to be, figure out what makes him happy, figure out what his ambitions and his goals and his dreams are. Right. So I'm working tirelessly because I want him to, first of all, be a balanced enough person to know what his goals, dreams, and ambitions are. But I also want him to be, you know, passionate and loving and caring. And he has to have not only enough of me, but enough opportunity to not be in survival mode. So again, it's this circle of trying to be great at everything at one time. And, you know, your work's never done, but you do need to sit down. You do need to rest, because your kids can't really function, or your kid's not going to benefit off of a dead version of you or a low energy dad. Or, you know, I'm too tired for this. I'm too exhausted, son. I'm sorry. I can't. And then when he leaves out the house, like you said, to your point, you ain't talked to your son in 4 weeks, 3 months, 6 months because he don't
Mm-hmm.
mess with you like that
Mm-hmm.
because you never
Right.
made time for him. You know,
Right.
we are teachers, we are guides, we are coaches, we are motivators, we are inspirers. You know, we are helpers, we are friends, we are cheerleaders. We are whatever our children need us to be. And the shoulders of a great man are broad, and they do a lot of things and they hold a lot of weight. And so it's just not about our entrepreneurial and endeavors. It's not just about us taking over the world in our perspective, you know, arenas. It's really about us making sure that we are dads first and foremost.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we're remembered by. Your legacy won't be in that casket. Oh, yeah, I know he closed 13 deals last year. He was still
Right.
working. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Mm-hmm.
them clients ain't gonna show up to the funeral, you know,
Nah.
talking that shit. It's gonna be your sons. You know, my dad showed me how to fight. My dad
Yeah.
taught me how to ride a bike. This one time, my dad was teaching me how to wrestle, and this funny thing happened. Oh, and then he said this one thing. They're gonna remember your essence, but your essence is what you give to your sons. Those who don't care about their fathers, don't give a fuck about their parents, don't have the essence, and what they do
Mm-hmm.
have was harmful. And so when you know approach fatherhood, or at least when I approach fatherhood, I remember that sometimes the things that aren't being said are the things that they're grasping hardest, right? The things
Yeah.
that the emotions that you invoke, the feelings that you bring when you walk into the room, the comfort and the fearlessness that they have when they know you standing behind them. Somebody knock on the door, my son looks at me. He's not trying to figure out, you know, who at the door by himself. He where daddy is. Immediately he's running toward me. He got it. You know what I'm saying? And I can never be
Mm-hmm.
too busy to be that
Right.
hero. You know what I'm saying? So with all this business shit is all said and done, we had nothing but fathers first. And, you know, I think that means a lot.
Yes, sir. All the way correct, man. Yes, sir. You said it. You said it. So, um, yeah, before we wrap up, man, I just want to give a few words. I think, you know, kind of just to add to what I said earlier, whatever we fail at as entrepreneurs, as businessmen, as workers, employees, employers, whatever the case is, I think we can't really take that to heart, because we know what's still at stake at home. We still have to be the best at what we do as a father, as a husband, the things that happen at home. So all that other outside the house, we gotta let some of that stuff go. It can't, you can't let it affect you to where you're coming back home with this negative energy, negative impulses, and now you ruining the home. Now they ain't have all that bad energy, and you disturbing their peace now because what's going on outside the house, you can't let that infiltrate. So, you know, your home has to be your castle, your peace. You know what I mean? You can't break that. So just know, you know, to leave these things on the outside barrier. You know, don't let these things take over. Because like I said, your home that you building, that's the win right there. That's the real win. You know what I mean? That's like you said, when at your funeral, they're not gonna remember, hey man, you know that man, you know, he was on stage for about 20 years. You know, I ain't heard what his son said about him, but you know, that's not important at that time. You know what I mean? You want to give back to what you put on this earth. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day. So, but yeah, Dame, you wanna wrap some last words into this?
Yeah, man. I think, for fathers, man, and for men in general, there's definitely a desire to be the best that we can be. There's definitely a desire um, to be great at all of the hats that we have to wear, whether it's husband and, whatever your career and your passions are, and fatherhood and et cetera, and just one encouragement just to fathers is to, really, which is kind of an element of this right here. Like, don't be afraid to reach out and collaborate and talk and vent with other men and other dads, because nobody is getting anywhere on their own. And I'm
Right.
talking fatherhood, parenthood, success. There's relationships. There's so much that goes into it. You know what I mean? And the relationships that we have as men, the relationships we really have as Black men, being able to share life stories and relate to one another, shoot, laugh, cry, be angry. Like, those things are real, and those are needed for us to be great dads. Those things are needed for us to push ourselves to be the best that we can be, not to settle. You know what I mean? And so, and just as a entrepreneur, like, it's just an element of taking that and just being like, yo, you know what? Like, I'm going to push for my family. I'm going to be great in this avenue for my family, and never forgetting to not get that twisted and get it flipped. You know what I'm saying? And
Right.
so, yeah, that's just an encouragement, man. This has been a great conversation. I'm leaving uplifted. I hope other people living, feeling good, man, because, these conversations, one reason why I've started Better Dad and why you guys have kicked this off here with the village, is just to, man, to bring some insight, to bring some encouragement, bring some empowerment to men, to fathers. And so, I've definitely been blessed by this. And I just want to encourage fathers, man, like, don't be afraid. It's something a dad told me, a seasoned dad told me. He's like, yo, don't ever be afraid to remember that you don't know everything. And that's a good thing. You know what I mean? Because once you feel like you know everything, it's downhill. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so, whether you're reading books, whether you listen to podcasts, you're reading articles, you're just chopping it up at the barbershop, whatever it is, don't ever get too proud, you know what I'm saying, to say you don't know, you know what I mean? And I think that is just going to be one element of us just continue to be better dads.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you. KF, any last words you want to put in real quick?
That brother said it all, man.
Yeah.
What he said, man, he did that, bro.
Yes, sir.
He did that,
Yes,
man.
sir. Yes, sir. Hey,
A lot of fun.
dang, yeah, exactly. Hey, brother, we enjoyed it. It was an honor to have you on the show. By far, this is probably the most exciting energy we had on the show, man. I don't think we laughed as much on the show, but excellent topic. I think we touched on a lot of important pieces. I think this is something a lot of people can gain from all walks of life. I really enjoyed it, man. We got to do this again. I appreciate it.
Love to, man.
Definitely.
Listen,
Hey,
when you guys are 1 million followers, don't forget about me.
nah, that's gonna be you, man. Hey, tell who's listening, tell the family where they can find you, how they can get a hold of your content and all that good stuff?
Yeah. You can check out just the website, damonsumner.com. But follow your boy on Instagram and Twitter. That's where I kind of live and I hang out. If you got more than 10 pictures, I'll probably follow you back. If you an egg, then I can't help you out. But pass that along, man. We do a lot of things. Oh, and the YouTube channel, Better Dad. I just kind of put on some hopefully engaging and fun videos just about parenting,
Yeah.
all the way from swaddling in diapers all the way to dealing with screen time, etc. So just trying to get some encouragement out here.
Yes, sir.
What's your Instagram handle?
Instagram is Damon, DAMON with the number 2, Damon Jr. 2.
Okay.
Solid.
Okay.
Yeah, hit me up.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
This was a pleasure, man. This was great, man.
It was. It was.
Likewise,
For real,
brother.
for real.
Likewise.
This is what it's all about, man. Yes, sir. But yeah, y'all heard it. Stay tuned for more content, more episodes. You know where to find us. We're on IG at the Fatherhood Village. We're on Twitter at Fatherhood News. As always, keep the conversations flowing. Move this conversation to your circles. Let's get involved, man. Let's lift the community up. Let's build each other up. That's what we're doing here. So as always, it's your Fatherhood Village podcast host, Dale Holloway, Kev Hick.
Yeah, Kev Hook here.
Yeah,
Peace and love.
Peace and love.